Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television GPTV. We've got a new unboxing. This one is the latest release from 112 Collective, the Batman Ascending Knight. One of the releases for Batman that are going to be coming out in the coming years. What 112 Collective is doing is an interesting thing where they're doing a bunch of different versions of Batman throughout the decades, showing off numerous different versions of the classic character. So, we are going to open up and show off this first release. They've already shown off one of the other figures that are going to be coming out. Batman Beyond has been shown off. Really looking forward to all this because, like, Batman's pretty awesome. So, we can see what we're getting in the back. We've got kind of like an old school version of Batman with the bigger ears. That's kind of one of the defining things. The belt is much bigger, and obviously kind of the chest and the layout of the outfit's going to be really interesting to see how it varies throughout each different version. We've got a whole bunch of extras, batarangs, a heavy assault bat brick. We've got, of course, have a wrist crossbow with tranq darts and a grappling gun with 3 different hooks, which is pretty neat. And of course, stand and different fists that you can show off. There's also an alternate head. So let's open up and show off the actual figure and see how this one holds up. With the box, we've got the newer box of 112 Collective. It doesn't have the folding flap anymore. It's just kind of a see-through plastic opening. Let's see if there's anything in the back. Of course, we got their logo, which is just fine. Sometimes I feel like there's different versions of this, but it looks like they're kind of moving towards a standard box. That's not going to vary too much, at least a standard inside box, which is probably smarter for them in the long run, so can't exactly blame them. Alright. I'm going to go underneath, first and foremost. Oops. And see what we've got. Off the top of this. Okay, underneath. Nothing special. We don't see anything hidden. You know, sometimes there's weapons, sometimes there's various items within. It's just the usual display stand that we have here. Interesting enough, the bag was kind of wedged between the two. So we got product cure guidelines, which I feel is like a new thing that they haven't been doing before. But let's dive into the figure itself, because really, let's face it, that's what we all really care about and want to see. Alright. Let's go with Batman. Let's get off the little plastic from him. Yeah, when we do unboxings, we're serious. This is straight up unboxing. We don't go and prep anything beforehand. This is all legit, straight out of the box. Alright, we're going to leave that plastic on because I don't feel like fiddling it, and I'm sure you don't really want to watch it. Okay, let's do the standing test. How well does Batman stand? And the answer is really easily. I've done pretty much nothing on it, and the figure is standing no problem whatsoever. Initial impressions, it's a really nice figure. The suit's kind of interesting. We'll talk about that a little. The design is fascinating to see where it goes from smooth to texture and back to smooth. But, you know, looking right away, like, I kind of dig it. It's a very interesting design. I'm not sure if I like the light gray here. I know there's going to be a darker version variant that's going to be coming out. That one I think is probably going to look a little bit better, but you know, we'll kind of judge that when it hits. So let's go with the first test, which is always movement. We got the foot is the full move like we'd expect. Not really movement, kind of at the top of the boot. Knee is the full movement that we'd expect. Hip, full movement. Arm, we got the full move. Wrist is exactly what you'd expect. And this one I think is going to be the interesting. Wow, I actually think the waist. Alright, you guys can judge this one if you agree or disagree. I feel like the chest has got more movement than normal. I know one of the things that we've had problems with, not necessarily problems, but kind of criticism, is that there's not much movement in the chest. This one seems to have a lot more than usual. It seems to be a very different figure body-wise than compared to some of the other releases, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Head movement works complete. Everything's good. It's solid. Like, this is good movement. It actually seems like there might be more movement than normal in the figures, which is, I think, really interesting. All right, let's talk about the details. I'm going to start with the boots. As always, I'm impressed with. We got the tread underneath the boots. I think it's a small detail, but it's a really nice detail. The boots themselves are pretty good. You know, I might have liked a little bit more definition, not really definition, coloring difference as far as the laces with the boots. I mean, it's just straight black. You know, we get gray here at the tips and on the back and kind of on the side, but the laces just look like straight black. I wish there was maybe a little bit of shading. I think that would have looked a lot better and made things pop a little bit, especially since we see that kind of gray elsewhere. I think just like a light gray shading would have been a world of difference. Now, this is where it's interesting, is the design of the suit itself. We can see it's like smooth in various spots, and then there's this pattern in between. It looks really cool. I don't know if I dig it with the gray, but I think when it's black, like an all-black version, it's going to look a lot better. And honestly, I don't know what I might have done different. I'm wondering how it would have looked if it was straight gray completely. Like the knee is a pattern. Like it's interesting in that it's different than other figures, which I'm digging. So, you know, variation's not necessarily a bad thing. I just don't know. I'm kind of undecided what I actually think about the pattern itself and how it's used for the figure. We can see that pattern go up on the arms as well. And kind of different versions of it. Like there's this, it like breaks up, and it's interesting. I really don't know what I think. It kind of reminds me of maybe a swimsuit, like a body swimsuit for a diver in some ways, which I guess when you think about it as far as the character, like if we want to go realistic, that's probably what it's going to be based off of, something of that nature. So as far as design of the figure, it makes complete sense. All right, let's go with the gloves. Just like the boots, there's a little bit of gray on it, and we actually get some of that. I forgot what they're called. What are the little things on the end of the gauntlets? You know, they're there, and they are pointing because I've already stabbed myself twice. As far as the belt, this is one of the nicest belts we've seen, I think, on any figure. On the back, I'm going to guess the grappling hook goes in, no problem. Again, like the boots, though, it's pretty monochromatic. I wish there was maybe just a little bit more shading with it, but the design of the belt's really, really nice. The cape is huge. This is what you'd want for a figure like this, is a big giant cape for it to throw over his arms and be the Batman. You know, this reminds me a lot more of the old school 1930s, 1940s Batman, which is what it's supposed to be. So in that sense, I think they've done a really good job of capturing the old school nature of it all. So that I'm digging, the big giant cape. All right, let's go with the extras. There is a lot. We've got, I think this is like a wrist crossbow that looks like you can probably put in hands. Let's see, let's check out one of the hands. So I guess you can do that, or you can you're probably supposed to go something of that nature, but, you know, the right way with the right hand. So you're probably supposed to do that, but, you know, obviously facing out. Something like that. So, kind of cool. It's a nice little item. Looks really good. There is a whole bunch of... Wow, this might be one of the most difficult ones to get the items actually out of the locations. So bear with me. Alright. We've got a grappling gun and a whole bunch of grappling hooks. There is string on this and a little bit... going to guess this can go, yep, well, I'm going to guess this kid, yep, so you can put this in the grappling hook. There we go. You can put this in the grappling hook and it stick out. So that's just one of the grappling hook versions. There's another that you can just put in. It's open. And then a final. This is probably closed. I don't know if this is supposed to go in or not. I feel like this should go in. Oh, it probably goes in. That's going to be how you do it. So you go in. No? Yep. So you go in that way. Alright. Then we've got what do they call this? This was the Heavy Assault Bat Brick. I have no idea what you're supposed to use this thing for. It folds up, which is kind of cool. I guess you can go like hit people with it. Yeah, I have no idea what weapon this is supposed to be. There's a whole bunch of batarangs. Let's go. Let's see. Try not to have things like spill all over the place. Yeah, batarangs actually are taped in really, really well. So you're gonna just have to believe me on that one, that there is a whole bunch of batarangs in here. It's actually kind of a pain in the butt to get out. So we're not gonna do that because I really don't feel like losing batarangs all over the place, and I'm not gonna be able to watch those by taking the glue off very well. All right, and finally, of course, we have the. We have Bruce Wayne head, which is pretty good. This is some solid detail. I like the hair. The hair is pretty good. There's nice coloring to it. The eyes, the face, the lips. Like this is a solid take. Kind of reminds me of the Shazam head, so I'd be really interested in comparing the two and seeing what they look like. But it's a good head, and I think it's a nice addition to it. I think I'd rather just use the Batman one. It'd be nice to maybe have an alternate Batman head. Yeah, I think 112 needs to like release variant heads and stuff like that. That'd be awesome. So overall, I think the figure's really solid. The cowl's good. The face is good. The design's good. The body's interesting. It's kind of growing on me with the cape over it, but still on its own, I'm not quite sold. But overall, like, this is a really good Batman. It definitely evokes the old school design of the figure. So I'm looking forward to see what they come out. There's a whole bunch more coming out down the road. So, you know, if you're into 112 Collective, you should go and check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. And of course, we're right here on YouTube where you can get all sorts of unboxings and review of the 112 Collective. You know, if you're into Batman, if you're into comic books in general, you can see us at graphicpolicy.com, on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. Until next time, be the Batman. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.